As I stand here, we're going to start off a little bit informally here. I really appreciate to see the number of faces out here taking advantage of this opportunity. You know, as your principal, I absolutely want you to know that everybody in this auditorium has been thinking about, in particular, the class of 2020, nonstop since March 13th. And we tried to put together, following pretty closely the guidelines that were ever changing by the state. And we wanted to put together something that you deserved. You have been a fantastic class. And just remarking to some of the people that came up on stage on the way in, we walked in and you automatically just respectfully got quiet. Nobody had to say a word. We didn't have to act like that you were 5 years old. And it always amazes me that that is the student body at Southmoreland. That I can stand in front of you and you show and demonstrate the utmost respect. So, we want to make this as celebratory as possible. Mrs. Sutton and I, we're working with Mr. and Mrs. Hickson, Mrs. Hanford, who put on just a phenomenal, with Mrs. Pushkar as well, and all the students that worked on the senior video. So late Thursday, when we knew we officially were going to be going green, we started thinking, what can we do? And then we got the guidelines at 250. We were never going to be able to have that traditional ceremony, but what can we do to get these kids together? And I would say probably for about 32 straight hours, phone calls, text messages, Facebook Messenger, you know, we're old, so we use Facebook. And what could we do to make this happen, to get the kids together? And it's not perfect. And you're all 6 feet apart, and you're looking at me with my awkward mask on, and saying, you know, we're going to make this happen for you because we truly do and truly have missed having you in our lives on a daily basis, not in a Google Classroom. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. Kind of formally informal, okay? I always use that term all the time. We obviously don't have the bagpiper, and we're not processing in. You've sat in your seats, and you have a place to sit. Everybody, I think we got a majority of the class that have signed up for individual diploma ceremonies that will begin rolling at 10:25 and will conclude at 8:50 tonight. We're going to run through kind of a modified ceremony, and I have to check my time. Somebody yell at me if it's 9 o'clock. My watch says 1:15, so. Anywho, so if we look at what happens here, all these ladies are going to be giving speeches, their class addresses. Mr. Masha and myself will give our speeches, and then Mrs. Sutton is going to do a roll call, and we ask, if you want, to stand up, give a wave when your name is called. You will get your diploma and any other materials that I still have for you when you come with your families beginning at 10:25. That is what process that we're going to use here. At 9 a.m. we're going to begin a live stream, okay, and so that families can watch it. And I put out a robocall last night on YouTube. They can watch it live. I have a videographer here that is taping everything, and we will be putting together a graduation video that will be available. I have a professional photographer here, and you got photo information if you'd like to order professional photographs of you receiving your diploma. Your families, of course, will be able to come up when you get your diploma and your individual ceremony and take as many pictures as they want during that time. So that's what we're looking at doing. we have to ask when we complete this ceremony that you kind of skedaddle. Is that a word people use nowadays? I asked if anybody knew who Eddie Vedder was yesterday, and including my own daughter. I was like, "You know who Eddie Vedder is, Madison?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "It's old people music." That was like 1993. So, but lead singer of Pearl Jam. It's a classic rock band. So anyway, we have to get out so that we can allow for the movement and traffic. We have a pretty fine-tuned machine working throughout the course of the day. So try to, as we do so, and plus we will be disinfecting the area as we move forward. So, Jake, are we close to 9 yet? 8:52. Okay. I went out and got my watch thinking that it would be very helpful today. So I guess I'll have to use the cell phone. All right. So at 9 o'clock, we could just kind of relax for the next 8 minutes. At 9 o'clock, we'll roll tape. You don't have to remain in complete and utter silence and staring up at all of us here until 9 o'clock. So, but at 9 o'clock, we will roll tape and begin the ceremony. Thank you. All right, we're ready to roll. I guess I'll formally introduce your class president, Jocelyn Basato.
Please stand for the Star-Spangled Banner performed by Abigail Grace Whitlatch, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance recited by Bryce Bates and Marty Burke.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. I'd like to first welcome Mr. Masha, Mr. Krofchek, Mrs. Sutton, the members of the Southmoreland School Board, remaining members of the administration, faculty, and graduates to the commencement of the Southmoreland class of 2020. To those of you watching this on a screen somewhere, good morning, or afternoon, or evening. It's morning where we are at the moment. To my fellow classmates, I'd like to start off by saying congratulations. You're all sitting here today because you have overcome every obstacle thrown your way during the past 13 years. All of the long nights spent cramming for a test or finishing big projects put off to the last second, all of the frustration in getting a bad grade or the joy of doing better than we expected, all of the rushed evenings from practices to rehearsals, the field trips and friendships and dances and pep rallies and football games and laughs and memories have led us to this moment. We made it. All of our hard work has finally paid off. Congratulations to all of you on your success for coming so far. And now it's time for all of us to find a new path to pursue. No matter what that path is, I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. I wish you all every happiness, as you deserve nothing less. You deserve the world, and you deserve better. I'm not going to pretend like there isn't a very large and inconvenient elephant in the room. The class of 2020, all over the country, all over the world, has been denied 3 months' worth of experiences that should have been surrounded by our friends. Parents and loved ones should be lining the seats behind us as we toss our caps. We deserve all of that, and more. It would be easy to sit here and feel sorry for ourselves. I know that I've done it quite a few times ever since we got the news in March that we'd stay closed. But I'd like you all to take a moment to look to the person on your left and right. I'd suggest shaking their hand, but social distancing. These are the people we have grown up with, and what a gift it is to be sitting next to them. We may not have had the class day or prom or graduation we were expecting, but right now, in this moment, we have been given the chance to celebrate our successes and say our goodbyes together in person as a class, not through a screen. A few months ago, I don't think any of us would have realized the significance of being together in the same room. But throughout this whole experience, we have been shown time and time again the value in what we once took for granted. Conversations around lunch tables, making music as a band, playing spring sports together as a team, going to a teacher for advice, seeing friends in the hallway, all things that were suddenly so much more special once we no longer had access to them. Getting to speak to all of you in person is such a gift. Being together one last time is a gift. I don't think any of us would have recognized that if we hadn't gone through what we did. And I think that's a gift in itself, too. We have learned so much more in these past few months than just the assignments posted on Google Classroom. We've learned to make sacrifices. We've made the health of strangers a priority over our own happiness. We made the best out of all of this. We saw a situation that was scary and upsetting and made the decision to turn it into an opportunity to connect and spend time with family, to focus on self-growth, to reach out and offer help to our peers, and to prepare for the next stages of our lives. We jumped at the chance to acknowledge each other's accomplishments. We didn't hesitate to build each other up and encourage one another to keep going, even when it was hard. I've never seen our class come together the way we have these past few weeks. We may not have been in the same building, but we were never really that far apart. It would have been easy to quit and feel sorry for ourselves, but we didn't. We have left a legacy on Southmoreland by adapting to the uncertain and unfair circumstances we were put through, and for always choosing to focus on the positives and keep moving forward. The class of 2020 will go down in history textbooks as the class that persevered. But I don't think our strength has ever been a topic of debate. We have persisted and adjusted to changes, tragedies, and uncertainties from the very beginning of our lives. We came into the world in the wake of a terrorist attack. We have had to say goodbye to two of our classmates and friends, Trent Johnson and Lacey Pamaibo. We have watched public education go through constant modifications, whether that was to curriculum or active shooter protocols. We haven't had it easy. I think it's only fitting for us to finish our academic career in the midst of a global pandemic. And throughout our lifetimes, one thing for certain is that we will continue to be faced with adversity. But you've already proven that you are more than capable of handling everything that comes your way. You all have the tools and talents to rise above the struggles you face. Life is unexpected, life is scary, but you are stronger. All this being said, I think we can all agree that we owe a large portion of our success, despite these obstacles, to the Southmoreland faculty and administration. This situation was just as strange and overwhelming to them as it was to us, if not more so. We have been given the best possible education and commencement ceremony given the restrictions under which our county was placed, and they deserve recognition. At this time, could we give the administration, the senior sponsors Mr. and Mrs. Hickson, faculty and community members a hand for working to give us the best send-off possible? This has been a challenging time for all of us, and it seems unfair that it all has to be happening now. But maybe the class of 2020 was given these obstacles because we are the only class that can handle it. I feel incredibly honored to call myself a leader of such a talented, intelligent, and resilient group of young men and women, and so grateful to call you my friends. I can't wait to see all that you accomplish. Thank you for making my high school experience so memorable. Congratulations, graduating class of 2020. Thank you. Please welcome Salutatorian Amelia Caroline Eckerd.
Welcome, graduates. When I entered Southmoreland Senior High School, I set a goal to perform to my highest ability academically. I'm very glad to have achieved that goal, and I'm honored to be named a co-salutatorian for the class of 2020. The irony, however, is not lost on me that one of the rewards for achieving this goal involves my least favorite thing to do, public speaking. I know that I was not the only one who set a goal the first day they entered Southmoreland. My fellow classmates sitting beside me on stage also set their sights on thriving academically in the classroom. Many in the crowd were determined to become the best athletes, the best musicians, and the best performers. While we each achieved our own goals, we did not achieve them alone. I know that our teachers have helped us every step of the way. Many of our teachers did not just support us in the classroom, they were our coaches, club sponsors, and mentors. The teachers deserve more than just a thank you, but is there any gesture that could fully express our gratitude? Our families deserve to be recognized also. They have been with us from kindergarten to graduation, supporting us in every way possible. Our families have prepared us for the future, and now it is time to start making decisions for ourselves. We frequently hear the quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," and now is our time to do so. Too often we wait for others to be the change, when in reality, each of us has within us the ability to make the world a better place. We are leaving behind the constraints of childhood and are becoming adults. So it is time to make a plan for what we want for our futures. Whatever your future holds, make sure to make your fellow Scotties proud. If at first we do not see the change we want happening, we have to remember that not giving up is a necessary part of life. It is important to note that persevering has led to some of the most well-known individuals today. Dr. Seuss was turned down 27 times before his first book became published. As we leave our old lives behind and step into the unknown, we may fail plenty of times before ending up at our goal. If you have not failed, you have not tried. Each time we fail on this journey through life, we have to get right back up and prove ourselves. As we end this journey, we begin a new one. We will now enter into the world, and each of us will go into different paths. Some of us will go to college, others may start a new job or go into the service. Regardless of the path we take, it is important to remember where we came from and to show the world that great successes do in fact come from small towns. Congratulations, and I wish the best of luck to each and every one of you.
Please welcome Salutatorian Sara Elizabeth Pasula.
All right, that didn't work. When we were told as children that time flies, we would merely shrug our shoulders, finding it hard to believe that one day we would be in high school. Today we sit in our caps and gowns next to our forever friends on our last day at Southmoreland High School. First and foremost, congratulations to the class of 2020. We did it. I would like to start by thanking my parents for always pushing me to put forth my best effort and for supporting me through everything I do. I owe everything to them, and I truly would not be the person I am today without their constant love and encouragement. To my friends, our endless memories mean the world to me, and I'll always be grateful for our close relationships. Taylor Swift once said, "Someday when you get to where you're going, you will look around and you will know that it was you and the people who love you who put you there." From the bottom of my heart, thank you all. And finally, to the teachers, thank you for teaching me lessons not only in academics but also in life. The impact that you have had on your students is greater than you will ever know. I don't think anyone could have imagined that our senior year would have ended the way that it did, but there was some magic before the madness. In the fall, our football team made history by making playoffs for the first time in 40 years. There was an excitement in our small town that hadn't been there in a long time. And the excitement continued through the winter as the girls' basketball team not only went undefeated through the whole regular season and became section champions, but as they also made the first trip to the Peterson Events Center. And of course, we cannot forget about the seniors who were sophomores at the time, but still led the softball team to victory at the Whitfield Championship in 2018. History was also made that day as Charity Henderson played a full regulation game without faking a single injury. I would also like to congratulate the band for the countless awards and competitions that they have won. The time and effort you put into perfecting your performances does not go unnoticed, and our school is lucky to have the band that we do. But of course, this was before the madness, before we knew that March 13th would be the last day that we walked the halls of Southmoreland, the last day that we would take notes from some of our favorite teachers, and the last day we would sit laughing in class next to our best friends. If we had known, we might have paid more attention to the little details that didn't seem so important at the time, but that we would spend the next few weeks remembering. Although it's not fair that we didn't get to have one last prom to dance our hearts out with our closest friends, or a class day celebrating all of our hard work, we did get some great things out of all of this. We got the time to reflect on our last 4 years and remember all the great times we had. We realized that we had taken some things for granted, but we learned to cherish every moment. We also got all the love from our teachers. Whether it was through a heartfelt email or a personal delivery to our house, our teachers wanted us to know that they were still thinking about us. You don't get the kind of teachers that you find at Southmoreland everywhere. We have the teachers who truly care about their students and only wish the best for us. The teachers who are willing to plan Zoom meetings every week, even if only a couple of students were able to show up. The teachers who offered their support and let us know that whatever help we needed, they were willing to provide us with it, no matter the time. Finally, we got all the love from the community as well. I mean, what other class can say that they had a whole parade dedicated to them? There was no feeling like seeing the whole community come together to create something so special for us. I would like to thank everyone who took the time and effort to put such an amazing event together. It is a day that we will hold in our hearts forever. It's not always about where you come from, but it's about the people who are there along the way. The class of 2020 will always be remembered, but not because of a pandemic that cut our year short, but because of how we reacted when things didn't go exactly as we planned. This cannot take away from all the great things that we have done and all the great things that we will do in the future. I will leave you from one last quote from Tuesdays with Maury, taught by the great Chuck Britton. Because if you've found meaning in your life, you don't want to go back. You want to go forward. You want to see more, do more. God bless, thank you, and congratulations.
Please welcome Salutatorian Tessa Marie Yotzi.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we celebrate the graduation of Southmoreland's class of 2020. It's an honor to be standing before you today as one of 3 salutatorians. To explain what a salutatorian is, I turned to urbandictionary.com. A salutatorian is a person who missed being valedictorian by just a few GPA points. A very miserable person indeed. Second place is just the first loser. But no one here is a loser today. We will all walk across this stage today at some point and become graduates. I wasn't given any guidelines for what to say in this speech, so if the following topics are out of order, have no relation, or are not about graduation at all, I apologize in advance. I would like to start out by saying that high school will not be the highlight of our lives. Sure, the things we experienced during our years in this place will stay with us forever. The memories, the moments we shared with friends, everything. It is the end of the first chapter in the story of our lives. But there is no reason to be sad today. You should be proud because today marks the first day of the rest of our lives. It's scary to think that we have our whole lives ahead of us. It almost seems unreal. We have spent the last 13 years of our lives learning and working hard so we could get to this very moment. And even though this isn't how I thought we would be graduating, I can only look at the positive. There is a vast and unknowable future before us, and one of my favorite quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt captures this notion. She once said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. There is potential in each and every one of you. The uncertainty we hold creates a motivation for a better future. So chase your dreams, even if they sound crazy, because one day you'll look back and see how much it was worth it." Since we entered the doors of Southmoreland High School, there has always been something different about the class of 2020. While we might have become the champions of senior skip days, there is one thing this class has shared that cannot be replicated: our exhibition of passion and the exuberance for the magical events of life, as well as the commitment and dedication to having fun and following our hearts, are among the characteristics that define this class. From hosting Swishes for Wishes to raise money for Make-A-Wish, to gathering the whole community together to celebrate our accomplishments with a car parade, our class has always been one that didn't let countless hours of schoolwork slow down the party of life. The workflow placed upon us tended to be excessive at times. These past few years, we have all been under a lot of stress. But one day, we are all going to look back and miss these days, someday. Someday, these memories, the laughter, sweat, and tears that we shed from the halls of this school will bring a smile, or maybe even a tear, to some of the most tough graduates among us. In my Google search for a good speech to give at graduation, I came across a pretty good analogy. High school is like a lollipop. It looks sweet from the outside, takes forever to get through after many attempts at licking it, sucks until the end, but overall you miss it when it's gone. However, as I said before, today is not the day to be saddened by the conclusion of good days gone by. It is a time to celebrate the unlimited potential and the futures of all the graduates we have here today. The world is at your fingertips waiting to be grasped. The future may be unknown to some of us, but everything is going to work out in the end. I think David Bowie said it best: "I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring." The advice I hold for you may be generic, but should be taken to heart. Stand up for what you believe in, even if you're the only one. It only takes one person to change the world. Leave your mark wherever you go, even if that mark is placed upon the road less traveled upon. Most importantly, don't sweat the small stuff. Do as you please, because having fun is the most important thing in life. Because after all, nobody makes it out alive anyway, so you might as well have fun being happy with who you are. This class, 2020, is the next generation, and we are going to do exceptional things. Even though many of us are going on different paths, we have a lot to offer this world, so remember that anything is possible. So I hope that in 5 or 10 years from now, we'll all look back at our high school days and think, wow, it really wasn't that bad. I would like to wish each and every one of you success in life. May you all reach your full potential and reach your dreams. I'd like to thank everyone who has been there for me. None of us would be here without each other. I'd like to thank the friends that always stuck by me through thick and thin. All the memories, moments, and laughs that we shared with each other have shaped who we are. So congratulations, class of 2020. I wish you all the best of luck.
Please welcome the valedictorian, L. Louise Kenny.
Hello, class of 2020. I am very proud of all of you who have completed this very difficult year and would like to congratulate you for your efforts and determination. Our class has been through a lot, and I'm not just talking about COVID-19. Many of us were born around a traumatic day, September 11th, 2001. Our first official year of school, we begin in the midst of a war in Afghanistan, then the recession of 2008. In 5th grade, the Sandy Hook massacre destroyed our innocent view of school as being a safe place where we would always be protected. And then again with the Parkland shooting. We had snow delays, mold cancellations, and online schooling because of quarantine. But it wasn't all grim. I mean, Shrek came out when we were born, then Ratatouille in kindergarten. 2009 brought one of the most influential games of our time, Minecraft. And we were the last class to go to Lauren Caverns, thanks to you rock-throwing fools. In 2015, every person was able to express their love for anyone, regardless of sex orientation or gender, with the legalization of gay marriage. When we begin our freshman year, one of the most divisive elections took place right when we were finally old enough to start understanding our opinions. And then sophomore year, when many of us participated in a successful walkout in remembrance of the Parkland shooting, taking a stand on mental health and the importance in protecting our peers. During this time, we also saw a rise to the Me Too movement, where scared women and men were given courage to speak up against their oppressors. Our students worked diligently and made Southmoreland proud with our girls softball team, who achieved WPIAL status in 2018. In 2019, the Scotty football players went to the playoffs for the first time since the 1970s. And in 2020, the girls basketball team had an almost perfect season from beginning to end and went making it to states, playing at Peterson's Event Center on live national television. Our band also brought honor to our school, bringing home first place trophies at almost every competition, as well as being awarded WPXI's Band of the Week, not just once, but twice. We were only able to reach this accomplishment thanks to the wonderful members of our community rallying together. And lastly, despite the quarantine and lack of a traditional graduation, our community once again showed their appreciation and dedication to our class by having the first ever senior parade. Tonight, I'm honored to be the 2020 Southmoreland class valedictorian. Don't worry, I didn't expect it either. It was a lot of stress getting here. I felt pretty overwhelmed these last 4 years. I took on way too many classes, barely got any sleep, and bottled up all of my emotions to the point that I would have mental breakdowns. In fact, I had 2 mental breakdowns in Cav's class alone. Hey, Cav. But I'm not alone in this feeling. I'm sure we can all reach a mutual agreement that growing up and learning is hard. Whether you struggle in math, English, or any of Mr. Majinski's classes, your efforts are valid. And Vo-Tech kids, I have no clue how you manage to not only have hands-on learning, but practically a full-time job while simultaneously getting all of your credits. It's incredible. You're all extremely talented young men and women. I'm so proud of all of you and the obstacles you overcame. Unfortunately, this isn't the end to crunch times and cram sessions. It's just the beginning. Life is chaotic and ever-changing. Today we start a new chapter in this complex yet beautiful world. Our lives will be chaotic and ever-changing, which is why we must be diligent in approaching our health, especially our mental health. It's easy to ignore mental illnesses and signs of emotional distress, as it doesn't cause physical pain, yet the consequences of letting these ailments go unnoticed are far more severe. It's okay to express emotions, to cry, and to find comfort in others, regardless of stigmas. So if you need to seek a therapist or reach out to a friend, there should be no shame in that. There should be no stigma against things that better our lives. Now, some personal advice from me. Don't be nervous, don't worry, don't take on too much at a time. Respect yourself and respect others. We are all humans, we all have our struggles. So give each and every person the rights and consideration that we all deserve. There will be tough times for all of us, but there will also be great memory. Cherish each moment, and more importantly, as Mark Twain once said, never regret the things that made you smile. It's been Real Class of 2020. I hope to see you all again living your best life physically and mentally. So farewell to all those who made my childhood worthwhile, and hello to the future.
Please welcome Superintendent Mr. Vince Masha.
I would like to start out by congratulating your classmates here and the wonderful messages they have shared with us today. So once again, thank you very much for what you've done. Good morning, parents, family members, faculty, school board members, friends, community members, and most importantly, you, the graduating class of 2020. Who could have guessed at the beginning of the school year that all the events that have transpired within the last 4 months would have occurred, and the everyday activities that we have taken for granted would become so precious to us? It could not have been predicted that wearing masks, bandanas would become a common occurrence, and the term social distancing would be used on a frequent basis. Given all the circumstances, it is everyone's desire to provide you the best graduation ceremony that can be afforded during these times. After all that has happened, we want you to be properly recognized. 13 years ago, your journey began when your parents sent you off to kindergarten for your first day of school. Now you are ready to embark on the next phase of your lives after experiencing unprecedented events. March 13th, 2020 is a date that has changed the world. Who could have imagined that it would be the last day of you physically attending school? Looking at the positives of the last 4 months, I would like to touch upon the trait of grit, which I believe you have experienced and developed to a high degree. You have grown emotionally, intellectually, and socially after enduring our current state of events. I would like to take just a brief minute or two to touch upon grit and what it has meant to your overall development. Grit is defined as courage. When you think of courage, you may think of physical bravery, but there are many other forms of courage. Conscientiousness. Conscientiousness is defined as a personality trait of being thorough, careful, or vigilant. Recently, our awareness of our lives and the lives of those around us has been elevated to a higher degree. We can no longer take for granted all we have previously done on an everyday basis, from washing our hands, cleaning household surfaces, or even interacting in social settings. We have been forced to become vigilant about all that is taking place around us and about the potential ramifications of these events. Perseverance. Perseverance is another form of courage that you have become familiar with during these last months. When faced with not ending the school year in the brick and mortar setting, you rose to the occasion and took your own learning into your hands with the assistance of your families and the great teachers that were supporting you through providing you an online learning platform. Many of you became very adept at independent learning, a skill that will take you far in this life and will provide you the ability to be successful regardless of the circumstances that will be presented during your life. Resilience. If you have not become resilient, during these last several months that I am uncertain as to what you have learned from recent events. Was this the senior year you envisioned? Circumstances were far beyond your control, but you were able to find ways to make the best of this situation and come together as a class. I believe you have developed a greater capacity to look at your life's experiences and learn from each and every one of these experiences. Passion. I hope you have become more passionate about life and the family and friends that have supported you through your lives to this point. I hope you have developed a greater love for living and for everyone that has been a part of your existence. There is something to be learned from every event that takes place and from every individual who has the privilege of being a part of your life. In conclusion, I wish each and every one of you the best in your future endeavors. I firmly believe you will be successful and we will hear great things about you. I hope you have learned that you have the capacity to shape your lives, and it is my desire that you will be the next generation to greatly impact this world in a positive manner. Thank you for letting me be a part of your experience here at Southmoreland. Congratulations and thank you.
Please welcome Principal Mr. Dan Krofcheck.
"2020. There is a lot to say. There's an old saying, hindsight is 2020. If you're not aware, hindsight is the understanding of a situation or event only after it has happened. 2020, of course, is perfect vision. I had no idea what that is going back to 6th grade when I had 2-inch thick glasses that looked like complete squares. Here's a sample sentence that the dictionary put out there. In hindsight, I should never have gone. Here's one that's a little bit more relevant to my personal life. In hindsight, I shouldn't have sprayed that beehive with a garden hose. In hindsight, I shouldn't have messed with that baby bear. You know, as I walked into SHS on Friday the 13th of March, if you don't remember, it was during a full moon that week. I shooed away a black cat on the way in and a turkey, because remember those turkeys? I walked under a ladder that Judy had up. I went to my room, combed my salt and pepper, more pepper now than ever, in the broken mirror in my closet, and I said to myself, what could possibly go wrong today? Right? So, 2:35, the governor closed schools in Pennsylvania exactly 10 minutes after we dismissed you for the day. So back to hindsight. When I look back now, there are so many things that I wish I would have done. Wish I would have told you if I knew I was going to be quarantined for several months and that we would never share the halls together again the way that we used to. I have thought about them every day. In hindsight, here are a couple things that I thought of. In hindsight, I should have got a haircut. My wife, fortunately, I think did an okay job, other than the hair all over the kitchen after she just took the shears. In hindsight, I probably should have bought more toilet paper. In hindsight, I should have saved my stimulus check to buy a tiger. Don't act like you didn't all watch Tiger King. In hindsight, I should have told Josh Caruso to take his hat off. Just one last time. In hindsight, I should have had the band play Infinite Hope one last time. In hindsight, I should have had the cast of the musical perform a scene from Seussical. In hindsight, I should have had the sheriff or Anthrax destroy a garbage can or whatever those robots do. In hindsight, I should have told you how proud we were one last time of the successes in athletics over the 4 years that were mentioned numerous times by your colleagues here on stage. But most importantly, in hindsight, I should have told you how much we appreciate you, how much we care about you, how much we worry about you, how much we want you to be successful. Ultimately, how much you make us proud and how much we have loved being a part of your life for the last 4 years. You know, I've thought about that constantly since March 13th, 2020. In hindsight, I'm sorry that 2020 didn't turn out as expected. As your principal, I will say I'm sorry that it was unable to be that way. However, you have taken everything in stride with grace and dignity and can look back on 2020 in hindsight, knowing that you conquered and excelled. So I'd like to congratulate you, class of 2020. Mr. Masha, I attest that the students seated before you have fulfilled their graduation requirements as established by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the Southmoreland Board of Education. Upon completion of our activities on June 5th, 2020, these students are now be graduates of Southmoreland High School. Mrs. Sutton, I would ask that you please come forth and read the roll call of names of the class of 2020.
Later today, diplomas will be awarded by Mr. Vince Masha, Superintendent of the Southmoreland School District, and Mr. Dan Krofchek, Southmoreland High School Principal. Members of the school board participating today are Mrs. Gail Rhodes, School Board President, Dr. Catherine Fike, Mrs. Amy Love, Mrs. Heather Smith, Mrs. Kristen Smith, and Mrs. Michelle Williams. Also participating from the administration are Mr. Dan Clara, Director of Elementary Education and SPC Principal, Mrs. Tracy Kuhar, Middle School Principal, Mr. Alex Novikov, Middle School Assistant Principal and Supervisor of Special Education, and Mr. Ron Haichu, Elementary Assistant Principal and School Psychologist. I will now read the names of the graduating class of 2020. You may stand when your name is called. Tristan Lee Almer. Mackenzie Ann Bailey. Shelby Noel Baker. Lexi Ann Balsaric. Kevin James Barnhart. Cheyenne Marie Bash. Abigail Josephine Basham. Bryce Logan Bates. Savannah Rebecca Lynn Beatty. Monica Grace Bentz. Assyria Hope Black. Caleb Andrew Brine. Hunter Selena Brinker. Jonathan Edward Brown. Aubrey Margaret Bird. Martine Francesca Burke. Jocelyn Elizabeth Basato. Joshua Mackenzie Caruso. Maria Elizabeth Catalina. Carly Jade Collins. Riley Stephen Conforti. Tyler James Constantine. Alexander Nicholas Kramer. Haley Marie Cross. Caitlin A. Cross. Haley Rose Krauscher. Austin Joseph Cummins. Lindsay Nicole Seifert. Scarlett Marie Davidovich. Brianna Nicole Demigal. Sarah Elizabeth Dubral. Amelia Caroline Eckert. Brendan Gregory Eicher. Seth Porter Elock. Is that right? I think that's wrong. Sorry. I can't see it. Is Seth here? I'm sorry. Spencer Alexander Evans. Jaden Marie Fazekas. Hunter James Fletcher. Maitland Dawn Franzik. Abigail Morgan Fulham. Charlotte Michael Fulham. Mackenzie Elizabeth Galley. Mac Marion Garlowich. Madison Marie Garlowich. Sophia Marie Gaddy. John K. Glass IV. Gina Marie Grippo. Megan May Hall. Zachary Stephen Harmon. Colt Christopher Harper. Brett Edwin Hassinger. Charity Elizabeth Leanne Henderson. Nathan Andrew Henry. Matthew Donald Hickson Jr. Cameron Ray Hoke. Lauren Olivia Hohall. Brianna Christine Howes. Marissa Renee Reibel. Brett L. Huffman. Alexis Sadie Hall. Alyssa Mae Johnson. Daniel Isaac Johnson. Kaylee Emily Johnston. Sean David Kaminsky. Maggie Grace Korinchak. Dakota Robert Kaler. L. Luis Kenny. Noah Daniel Kinter. Chase Dale Kuhar. William K. Lackey. Emily Jean Lambie. Jacob Paul Lewandowski. Carissa Marie P. Lewis. Cody Earl Lee Logston. Colby Todd Laux. Ryan Leo Marchuka. Austin Allen Macbeth. Liam Edward McClure. Colin Ryan McCoy. Rebecca Lynn McCreary. Chloe Jean McElroy. Faith Elizabeth Miller. Zane Douglas Montgomery. Julia Shea Morvash. Courtney Claire Myers. Patrick James Nagy. Anthony Joseph Naskabin Jr. Blake Matthew Nelson. Kylie Morgan Neville. Skylin Pearl Nicholson. Jacob Z. Overly. Brandon Christopher Peterson. Logan Andrew Pickens. Sarah Elizabeth Pasola. Robert Earl Prinky. Brian Tanner Pritz. Taylor Alyssa Redmond. Aiden Richard Rhodes. Serenity Joanne Robinson. Joshua C. Sanner. Erica Ashley Sherbondi. Christine Elizabeth Shields. Caitlin Alexandra Slazak. Mercedes Paige Smartnick. Andrew J. Smith. Jared Ramsden Smith. Abigail Marie Snyder. Ariel Rose Sparks. Samuel Adam Spahn. Katie Jean Sprinkle. Aiden Michael Stilitano. Nicole E. Swank. Lacey Ann Tissue. Logan Holton Todd. Walter Lee Ulishny Jr. Brooke Allison Vance. Lucas Daniel Watson. Destiny Marie Wetzel. Elizabeth Marie White. Abigail Grace Whitlatch. Krista Ann Marie Witaszewski. Amber Dawn Wiltrout. Nicholas Robert Yeski. Tessa Marie Yotzi. Galatea Elizabeth Zaglin. Rita Renee Zubsik. Students, you may now turn your tassels. It is with great pleasure that I present the graduates of Southmoreland High School class of 2020. Please stand for the Alma Mater, performed by Brianna Nicole Demigal.
Seniors, you are now graduates of the Southmoreland Senior High School, class of 2020. Congratulations. We have now concluded your commencement ceremony. I mean, you want to toss your caps? All right, everyone, if we can exit the back of the auditorium, thank you very much for your attendance.